The Guilty. So this is a new Netflix movie starring Jake Gyllenhaal, the man himself. Of course, we all love Jake. And this is kind of what drew me in. I saw he was in it. I'm not really big on stuff that Netflix churns out themselves. I'm usually a bit sort of pessimistic about it. I don't really want to go near it. I just assume it's probably going to be meh. But this had Jake in, so I was like, you know what, I'll give it a try. What also helped that it's directed by Antoine Fuqua? Fuqua? I don't know. He directed Southpaw, also starring Jake, good movie, and it's written by Nick Pizzolatto. I don't know if I'm saying that right either, but he wrote True Detective, which is one of the best shows I've seen. So those two things on top of Jake, I was like, okay, maybe we're gonna have something kind of decent here. Now the film stars Jake, and it stays with him as he's like a dispatcher, responder, on-call dispatcher, whatever you call it. Someone calls the police, he's the guy on the phone. How can I help? What do you need? Where you at? Blah blah blah. And the film stays with Jake in the building the entire time. Like there's not really a scene without Jake. It's always him in this building going through this movie. And the film is 90 minutes, which is probably for the best, because any longer, just staying with one person in one space, it would have not been great for the movie. With a film that's staying in one location, it's usually better that it's shorter. Now the story follows Jake as he gets a call from a woman who's like quite distressed. It sounds like she's been abducted, and Jake is trying to sort of uncover the mystery, and he ends up sort of working all the angles. He finds out things about the woman and ends up talking to other members of the family in order to uncover this mystery. And of course he's got to uncover and solve all this from his desk, because he's just a dispatcher. He can't do it on anything, so he's got to call other people, get them to help, and it aggravates him that people can't, help him more. And that's basically what it is, a man trying to do everything he can from his desk with his headset on. Now the thing is with this, I do get the premise of it, like it's meant to tell a thrilling story from a desk, try and tell us some really dramatic story, but we don't actually see any of it. We just hear what's going on, and I get that, that's the premise, and it's trying to make it seem more dramatic, and we're meant to get sort of worked up because we can't actually see what's going on. But honestly, after around 30-40 minutes, it does sort of lose its buzz and its excitement, because you're just kind of like, well, I'd rather just be seeing this happen, and get like the actual perspective of it rather than just hear everything over the phone. But of course that's the whole point of this movie. It's like, we're not going to do it like how every other movie does. We're going to do it over the phone and tell our story that way. But honestly, for me, maybe it's down to the execution, maybe it's down to the plot itself. It wasn't enough for this movie to just be told from over a phone. It needed more. It needed a little more excitement. It just wasn't enough. None of this is down to Jake, however. Jake was great. As per usual, he doesn't really put in a bad performance. I've yet to see a bad performance from Jake, honestly, in the multiple films I've seen him in. But unfortunately for him, there's only so much you can carry a movie, right? He carried this movie far, I would say. He's the thing that kept me interested. His acting is very, very good. His performance, excellent, of course. It goes without saying. And whilst the story did its best, to help Jake out with twists and turns and secrets being revealed, it just wasn't enough. Now, on top of the story they were trying to tell, that wasn't overly interesting ultimately, they were trying to tell a story to do with Jake, some stuff about his personal life, little bits here and there that we got information about based on conversations he was having over the phone with other people. And that did add another element to it, because you're a little bit curious, okay, like, what's his stake in this, and, what's actually going on with him? Why is he on dispatch? Why does he seem quite unstable at times? But like with the main story, it just wasn't quite enough to retain that interest. It wasn't quite good enough for me to be like, yeah, I really can't wait to see how this turns out. Like, I was curious, but it just wasn't all that interesting, I'm afraid. And come the end of the movie, we do learn, kind of everything you need to. You learn about the story with the whole thing that's going on with this dispatch call. You learn about the whole thing with Jake's personal life, which explains why his character is a certain way, but ultimately it just didn't, even those bits didn't help the movie. It didn't make it at the end where you're like, okay, that kind of makes it a little more interesting. This movie ultimately, I don't think was trying to build up to a grand finale with secrets coming out. But if it was, it wasn't all that. Ultimately didn't add much to a story that couldn't hold up that well anyway. Honestly, without Jake, this movie sucks. If they just sort of got someone that was as well known, I just don't think it's as good. Someone who's not on the same level as Jake, it just would have been still kind of meh. But with him, it's all right. Like, it's watchable. No point do I think, fuck, this is boring, this is so bad. Like, There are little bits, you know, you want to see it through as you watch, but ultimately it comes to the end, you're like, it was okay, but it didn't do anything. It didn't, you know, there's nothing I'll ever rewatch. So ultimately, yeah, just a bit average. The Guilty gets a 5 out of 10. It was okay, you know, it doesn't hurt to watch it. Maybe if you're curious to watch it, say go ahead, see what you think about it. But for me personally, it just didn't do all that much. And you know, Jake can be in better stuff than this for sure. It's no reflection on him, this movie, because his performance is always good. But I was a little disappointed considering the writer and the director. I thought they could have done something a lot better here. You know, you had a good little trio there to make a good movie. But, you know, it is what it is. Thank you very much for watching. More movie reviews on the way. We got Bond coming up soon. So, yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.